3 days, we've been dealing with an unimaginable extreme flooding situation. Several people have lost their lives. Several are still missing. And now we got another wave of rain producing more life-threatening flash flooding across some of the same areas. So, of course, our next big weather maker, it's all about that heavy rain. And now we're talking about rain that has fallen in areas, of course, that has already received a lot of flooding over the last few days. So we're talking about major, massive river flooding and more rain falling on top of what folks have already received over the last few days. I actually want to take you back and talk about what has been going on across the Texas Hill Country for the past few days. Of course, we had that massive rise in these water levels early on Friday morning, which of course was the 4th of July. Guadalupe River at Hunt basically rose over 20 feet in just a few hours. I think about 22 feet in just a few hours. Notice major flood stage at 22 feet, and Friday morning that river rose around 29.45 feet. That was the highest level, so it rose to close to 30 feet. Guadalupe River at Comfort, there was a huge rise as well early Friday morning, and this happened right around 5 a.m., I believe. Major river flood stage here right around 28 feet, and the Guadalupe River at Comfort rose to close to 35 feet. So that is what led to the extreme and quick flash flooding situation. Guadalupe River at Kerrville also had a huge rise early Friday morning, going all the way up to 23.4 feet, surpassing major flood stage, which would be right at 20 feet. So that was caused by several inches of rain that fell Thursday night into Friday morning, more than 6 inches. The rain just kept coming. So now over the last 3 days, we're up to 8 to 18 inches of rain stretching from San Marcos to Kerrville to Ingram, Fredericksburg to the Burnett area, Round Rock, Austin, San Angelo, all dealing with tremendous amounts of heavy rain in a short period of time, and we've had major flooding and a huge flooding event. I want to talk about what's going on now because we still have a little disturbance across central parts of Texas that continues to crank out the rain. So this elevated flash flood threat does continue for the rest of this evening into tonight. There could even be the potential for a few isolated flooding incidences for tomorrow as well. But right now, here's the area of concern once again across parts of the Texas Hill Country. Flood watch was supposed to end around 10 p.m. last night, but it just keeps getting reissued because we keep getting these waves of rain impacting this area. So now the flood watch all the way through 7 p.m. with 2 to 4 inches of rain likely, but some of these storms could pulse up and kind of sit over some of the same areas, and that could lead to isolated 10-inch plus totals, and that does include Kerr County, that includes San Antonio, it includes Austin, Round Rock, San Marcos, and all the way up to the San Angelo area. So this is the potential once again for another big flooding event, and definitely some isolated totals that could be up to around 10 inches. So we've been monitoring these bursts of rain, and we saw one big burst of rain or downpours developing in between Fredericksburg and Kerrville. National Weather Service did issue a flood advisory a little bit earlier in the afternoon for Fredericksburg, but now we're more concerned about what's going on in east, central, and northeastern portions of Kerr County. So you can see right around Ingram, just to the east of Hunt, Ingram, and also down towards Kerrville, northern sections of Kerrville, dealing with a new flash flood warning. So this is going to be from now, which is 3:44, that's the time right now, all the way until 6:30 p.m. So this is going to go on for at least the next couple of hours. I was listening to the press conference going on about all of the flooding that has occurred over the last few days, and they were saying that some of the recovery crews, emergency crews themselves were being taken back or evacuated because that rise in that water was already starting to occur again. So it looks like there will be more danger right around the Guadalupe River over the next few hours as that water once again starts to rise. This time around, the ground is already saturated, so it's not going to take as much rain to cause major flooding issues. So here is that flash flood warning. It does include the Morris Ranch area up to the north, Harper, but it also includes Ingram and, of course, northern parts of Kerrville, and that was the area hardest hit on 4th of July morning back Friday morning. So you can see the very heavy rain still starting to push into parts of Ingram. Hasn't quite reached Kerrville yet, but it is going to eventually roll to the east. Big burst of rain also going to push through the Hunt area as well. So we're monitoring this closely. Right now, our Fox Red radar indicating we've had anywhere from 1 to almost 2 inches of rain from those thunderstorms starting to roll over parts of Hunt and Ingram, and this is what could clip northern portions of Kerrville over the next hour or so. So we are closely monitoring this situation. Of course, a flash flood warning means that life-threatening flash flooding is likely to occur soon or is already occurring. So you need to do what you can to get to higher ground. And if you see flooding around your area, you need to try to evacuate as quickly as possible. Try to get to a safe spot. If you're driving and you encounter a flooded road, you certainly need to try to turn around and find a different way to go, because of course, as we've all seen these last few days, flash flooding events can be extremely dangerous. So here's that burst of heavy rain which prompted this latest flash flood warning that does include northeastern portions of Kerr County, and that is going to continue, as I mentioned, through 6:30. So we're watching that closely. As far as what's going on in Houston right now, things are quiet. Things are looking good for your Sunday afternoon. Back over towards Wharton, there's been a burst of some heavier rain that is starting to kind of wind down a little bit, but still a few downpours near Needville, LaGrange, Giddings, Brenham, Belleville. Some burst of heavier rain there, but looking good in Houston, Sugar Land, down towards Galveston. No major issues at this point. Let's see what's going to happen over the next several hours with our Fox weather model. Notice 1 or 2 of those bursts of rain could briefly push across Houston. Our rain chance for today very low, but the big story will be the potential for the heavy downpours right around Kerrville, San Antonio, Austin, some of the hardest hit areas. Once again, continuing through about sunset, through about 9 o'clock, there will still be a good chance for that. And then I think between 10 and 11 o'clock, most of that rain across the Texas Hill Country will come to an end. However, our Fox weather model showing more of that rain blowing up again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., 7:15 a.m. Crews are still trying to go through the recovery efforts, the cleanup process, and it looks like the Kerrville area could get hit with another burst of rain in the morning. So we're monitoring this closely. It looks like the Houston area will also have a better chance for some scattered showers and storms as well for tomorrow afternoon. I think Monday and Tuesday will be our best chance for more widespread rain as we go through this week, but it looks like the main flood threat should stay west of Houston. Flash flood risk through tonight will continue to remain elevated right around Kerrville, Fredericksburg, and areas to the northwest. So basically between San Angelo and Kerrville, there will be a higher risk for that flash flooding, and that is something that we are monitoring very closely. Even through Monday, there's still a very low marginal risk for more of those downpours that could lead to flash flooding. Actually, by Tuesday, we finally start to dry things out. We push that street flooding risk out of the Texas Hill Country area and out of most of the state of Texas as drier air finally starts to roll in. So things will improve, but it's going to be a slow process. Now, towards the end of the week, Thursday into Friday, we're going to get a huge burst of Saharan dust. So that's going to be a lot of dry air moving in, and that will also help to kind of dry the atmosphere out across Austin, San Antonio, Kerrville, and for the Houston area as well. Until that happens, though, we are going to be dealing with the potential for a few of these showers and storms that could lead to some flooding issues. Of course, we'll be monitoring things closely. Once again, we do have that flash flood warning in place for northern and northeastern portions of Kerr County through 6:30. Of course, we'll continue to monitor this, and we'll have another update for you on our digital newscast at 5 p.m.